Engaged in work you could always trace. Thoughts of improvement written upon her face. Heavily she's gone now to a garden of lace. Elizabeth, you'll never be forgotten in this place. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Buckley, and I've been here under 4 of the administrators, but I was picked out to talk about some of the things that happened while Dr. Wright was here. One incident which I can remember vividly was we had a problem with some of the teachers were tardy coming to school. And Dr. Wright really wanted to, being a military man, wanted to make sure that everybody was on time. And so he would stand out in the parking lot and with a yellow pad, and, which is true, you were supposed to be at a certain time, and he would mark down those people who were coming in late. And he would put a little yellow mark on the pay sheet. And at the end of the week, some of the people that were late did have valid excuses. Fran Cohen, she used to go through the back gate. She had a late breakfast. Al Amorati over here, he'd always park his car by the fence and jump over. He was watering his lawn early in the morning. That was his problem. Ron Arcaney was out with Pat Trinello at a party, so he got a good excuse. And I got caught in traffic on Franjo, and it was hard for me to get here too. But at the end of the week, we would tally up and find out who had the most yellow marks on the pay sheet. Well, this one Friday, when everybody was, you know, waiting to see who would be the winner and receive the one-way ticket to Hanoi, we find out that somebody came along and yellowed in the whole sheet completely. I mean, it was unbelievable. We all looked at this, and so, needless to say, this teacher is no longer with us. As I said, he won the ticket to Hanoi. But I think one of the, just to show you what a wonderful person Dr. Wright was and what a sense of humor he had, really. I had just met Dr. Wright, and I was in the office, and I just was trying to think of something to start a conversation with, and I said, Dr. Wright, my grandmother's maiden name was Wright. And he said, really? He said, you know, maybe she owned me at one time. So I thought that was one of the funniest things. Of course, I couldn't say much myself at the time, but when I got to know Dr. Wright, I realized what a wonderful man he was. Thank you.
Don't stop eating now. I'm Ron Arcaney. I've been here for going on 16 years. And I was hired by Mrs. Jeezer, and I'm supposed to give an anecdote about Mrs. Jeezer. The thing I remember was, first of all, the interview I had with her. I was mowing my lawn in New Jersey, on my parents' lawn, and my mother called me to the phone, and she said, a woman is on the phone from Miami. I said, wow. So I went to the phone, and it was, she introduced herself as Mrs. Edith Jeezer, and she wanted me to come down for an interview. At the time when I had hair that grew, it was very long, and my mother said, well, you better go get a haircut. So I got a haircut, and 2 days later I was in Miami, drove down to New Jersey, and had my interview, and the thing that impressed Mrs. Jeezer was that I was a very clean-cut young man. And that was a big plus in my favor. That's why I was hired. Well, about 2 months went by after being hired, and I forgot to get a haircut. And it used to grow rapidly then, believe it or not. She called me into her office and said, Mr. Arcaney, your hair's getting awfully long. And she reached into her purse, pulled out $2.50. Now, this was in 1970, okay? And she asked for me to go get a haircut, and she was handing me the $2.50, and I looked at her and said, well, Mrs. Jeezer, I want to go get my hair styled. Could I have an extra $5? So she gave me a real look, and I made a hasty retreat out. And you know, she's not here tonight. She can't defend herself, but I really appreciate what she did for me as a new teacher. I didn't know what was going on. She helped me set up my reading groups. She helped me organize my classroom. And I really want to thank Mrs. Jeezer, and I'm really sorry she's not here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that beautiful presentation. We will just hold off with the rest of the program until after you finish the meeting. Ms. Zelza Myers. Ms. Zelza Myers had 4 children who attended the Gulfstream school, and she's just recovering from major surgery. But when she heard about this affair, she wanted to be a part of it. And so she created a special cake for the head table. Is this it, Anna? Is this it? She's created this very special cake. Isn't that beautiful? For this occasion. And I just thought that was such a wonderful spirit, and I'm sure you agree. The other cakes that we have here tonight are presented by the Cutler Ridge Women's Club. And this club also sponsored our student drawing contest, which was in conjunction with our silver anniversary celebration. And so we would just like to say to Mrs. Meyer, to the members of the Women's Club, that we're very grateful for your participation in our affair. And we look forward to your being a part of anything else that we may have. We certainly would welcome your participation.
She found out I was
speaker this evening, Dr. Britton. She was really concerned because she has heard some of my other introductions that I've made, that we label the Paul Bell, Joe Fernandez introductions, Dr. Britton. But she reminded me that you signed my check, so I thought I'd better behave. Incidentally, having your 25th birthday for Gulfstream, it's very appropriate to have Dr. Britton here, because this November, this month, he is also having his 25th birthday. So let me introduce our Commander-in-Chief. The man who brought the community to the schools of Dade County comes from Pennsylvania. His science, biology, chemistry, education, and doctorate degrees all come from the University of Pittsburgh. Following his degrees, he was a science teacher and an administrator in Pennsylvania. He moved on to Ohio as an administrator and came to Dade County in 1965 from Cleveland, where he was the assistant to the superintendent of the Orange Local School District. From 1965 to 1968, Dr. Britton served as the North Central Area Superintendent. And of course, this is where your principal, John Gardner, and I first met Dr. Britton. We were administrators in the North Central area. In 1968, he served as the Associate Superintendent for Instruction and then Deputy in 1976. In 1980, and for the past 5 years, Dr. Britton, our superintendent, has been the Chief Administrator of the Dade County Public Schools. Dr. Britton has received many awards, which include the Phi Delta Kappa Educator of the Year Award, the Golden Deeds Award, the Excellence in Education Award, the Florida Department of Education Superintendent's Award, and the Outstanding Achievement Award. It is with great pleasure that I present to you not only an educator, an administrator, a community leader, but the individual who has led and continues to lead the fourth largest school system in the country to the fine reputation it now enjoys. And all of this in just 25 years. And I present to you our Commander-in-Chief, Dr. Leonard Britton.
Well, the first thing I'll mention to you, my comments for this evening are shorter than the introduction. That should please you right off. I do want to thank you for inviting us here tonight. Frankly, it's not easy to get me out on a Friday night after a long week.
Why don't you go take those back?
But I'll tell you this, when John Gardner asks, I'll be there anytime. It's my pleasure. I'll tell you that. There's another John Gardner, nationally renowned, but I consider this John Gardner the original one, the real educator in the bunch. I would hope that tonight, as you think about the 25 years, in some ways you look back, but in other ways you look forward. And that perhaps tonight can be a way of a rededication to what the educational efforts here at Gulfstream have been all about, and to build upon what these great teachers and administrators have left us up to this point. As you know, in all the societies, even the most primitive ones, they've gone back in the early colonial areas, when people come in and start a colony or settlement of some type, they build their home and perhaps some type of a religious edifice, and then not too long after that, something that we would term a school. And those three forms of basic forms of society, the home and the church